All right, tomorrow, the Webbies will release the list of the most influential web moments of the past decade. But because we love you, we're giving you an early look so you can lord it over everyone tonight. Really, fire up your Twitters. It's time for the loop. Over the years, the Webby Awards have recognized the finest the internet has to offer, and now they've turned their attention to the most influential internet moments of the past decade. So which moments stand out for you? Was it in 2004 when Google issued their stock market IPO, setting them on the path to become an internet giant in search, video, and telecommunications? Or is it the moment when Craigslist in 2000 expanded beyond San Francisco, offering free classifieds to all and dealing a lethal blow to the nation's newspapers? Or could it be the 2008 presidential election, in which viral videos and social networking forever changed the political landscape? What other key moments shaped today's internet? Making history. It's The Loop. Joining me all the way from New York to help us make sense of it all, Executive Director of the Webby Awards, David Michel Davies is here. DMD, welcome back, sir. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Pleasure to have you. Thank you for sharing some of the items on the list early with us. I mean, we're a big fan of the Webbies, and I want to ask about some of these moments on the list that I did get to see early. You put the shutting down of Napster back in 2001 as a pivotal moment in the internet history. To that moment, like, I had to explain to my dad he's going to have to go to Kazaa to download Jimmy Buffett songs. Like, that was the extent of this moment in time to him. Why is it such a pivotal moment to everybody?
Well, I mean, a couple of things were that before Napster, it was really hard to actually download and get music online. It was something that people weren't really doing. They didn't know how to do it. So Napster taught all those people how to do that, and they taught them that the internet could be a great place to get music. But when it shut down, you know, all of a sudden that was gone, and what that actually created was a market for iTunes and Rhapsody and all those other services that came along and eventually created this pretty rich space, which is the online music space today.
Sure. It also created a much better environment for piracy, because BitTorrent's pretty sweet.
That is true, I suppose.
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying, like, I understand, you know, Napster was like the Fisher-Price, my first pirate kit, but, you know, people still have their eye patches on today, which is cool. So I get it. That's pivotal. It created legitimate music online scene, and of course the other stuff that we all do.
And you know what, actually, too? Do you know how many friends I had that couldn't start an online music business in 1999 because of Napster? A lot.
Right, yeah. And to this day, there's what? There's like now 12 of them, and only one really matters. It's okay. It's okay. It'll come back around. Facebook has actually become the dominating social network over the last few years. Do you think the biggest thing that they've done was really opening themselves up to non-college students, or was it accepting applications and developers into the fold?
Well, you know, I think that the biggest positive thing they did was opening it up to non-college students. I saw something that there's about 200 million people on Facebook, and that about half of them check back every single day.
Wow.
There was no way they were going to get that kind of scale with just college students. So in that sense, I think it's probably, you know, from a pure reach standpoint, probably the biggest thing.
And is MySpace, are they now a blip for the decade? Because at one point it was the site that you couldn't not talk about. It was a steamroller. Between the glitter graphics and the music service, everybody, you know, was all about the MySpace, and now it seems like Facebook is all the norm.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about looking at this when we actually put this list together is there's a lot of sites that actually, right when they launched, were obviously going to be great, and there's a lot of sites that you had to sort of look back on, and Facebook's one of those ones you look back and you sort of say, how did that go from where it was in 2006 to where it was in 2009? And you can sort of have the same thought about MySpace in 2005, and I guess they just didn't have quite the same trajectory.
Sure. The one site, though, that since launch and even to this day is still revolutionizing the internet, Zombocom. If you haven't been, really, the infinite is achievable there at Zombocom. I just want you to know that.
You know, I missed the whole zombie segment you had earlier. I could only hear it.
No, this is entirely different beast. But we're going to talk about Apple now, because this was I mean, this last decade was incredible for them. But it's really been, what, 2 years since the release of the iPhone? And that was a key moment where I think the internet went from being something that you were familiar with at your desk or in a very limited form in text on your phone to now something we all carry around in our pockets, right?
Yeah, and of course, as Apple does, it was an influential moment before it even happened somehow. I don't know how they did that. But yeah, I mean, it's the first time. We always used to say that the mobile phone is going to be like the Swiss Army knife of the 21st century. It's going to allow you to do all these things. And for the most part, it was hot air. And then the iPhone came along, and the hot air became realized. And it really has lived up to expectations. And, you know, touching back on the app stuff, as you mentioned with Facebook, the opening up of an app store and an app community really made it great.
Absolutely. And you know, it's interesting we talk about carrying around the internet in our pocket, and yeah, it's just a phone, but I think this is really setting sort of the trend and the pace in the next decade to come where it's a computer in your pocket. Stop calling it a phone, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like to say it's a device in your pocket and all those things. You know, I'm sure Apple wants to say it's the world in your pocket, but it really does live up to the expectation.
Sure. And then, of course, I want to touch on finally another influential moment from the last decade, of course, the rise of online video. It's hard to believe it's really only been a few years since sites like YouTube have revolutionized everything. I mean, from crotch shots to citizen journalism, it's all been redefined in high def. Are we finally witnessing this online video revolution? Because I remember back in like Real Player Beta 7 days, you know, of like 1997, online video is going to be it, but we keep saying that. Are we finally here?
Well, I think we could say that in 2000, when YouTube came along, there's a couple other components that are important there. The Flash player was really important. The decrease in price of camcorders and sort of equipment and bandwidth. You know, suddenly bandwidth became cheaper and was broader. I guess it's broadband. But those things came together and created this storm where all of a sudden online video had a real potential. And I think in the last few years we've seen it materialize, and we've seen a lot of really great artists and creators come up with great ideas for shows and do them online, and it's really just the beginning, I think.
I was going to just say, it's so sad that it's just a passing fad and it'll all be gone in a year or two. Internet what? Exactly. DMD from the Webby Awards, thank you so much for keeping us in the loop. And guys at home, check out the Webby's new daily newsletter at netted.net. And of course, be on the lookout for the list of their top 10 influential moments as well. DMD, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.